and welcome. My name is Alistair Field. I'll be your host this evening, and I want to welcome you all to our live and interactive telephone town hall discussion with the Ontario Securities Commission, which is the government agency responsible for overseeing the capital markets and the investment industry in Ontario. I'm excited to be here with you this evening together with a panel of experts from the Ontario Securities Commission, which is also known as the OSC. Tyler Fleming, Christine Allen, Lena Creda, and Mike Hutchinson. March is Fraud Prevention Month in Ontario. We are here today to answer your questions and provide you with information on how to better protect your money during the coronavirus crisis. The Ontario Securities Commission will be providing information on the spotting of red flags of fraud, some of the scams related to COVID-19, and we're seeing, and other coronavirus information that's important for people to know. At any point during the call, please press *3 to ask your questions. You can ask questions on a range of investing topics. Again, at any point during the call, starting right now, press *3 to get in line to ask your question. Many people signed up in advance to join this town hall, and right now we are also calling thousands of your neighbors across Ontario. We have randomly selected residents from across the province to share information and tips on investment fraud, to answer your questions on making informed investment decisions. If you were called, please know that your number was randomly chosen from the white pages and you're not on any list. It will take a few minutes to connect with everyone. So as we are waiting to get started, I'll ask Tyler Fleming, Director of the Investor Office at the Ontario Securities Commission, to take a moment to explain how a telephone town hall works.
Sure, thanks, Alistair, and good evening, everyone. We're really glad you're able to join us for tonight's telephone town hall. As Alistair said, my name is Tyler Fleming, and I'm the Director of the Investor Office. And I'm joined by several of my colleagues from the Ontario Securities Commission, who I'll introduce in just a few moments. We've all been through the second wave of COVID-19. The impact of this pandemic is still being felt every day. We're all watching the public health measures. We're all just living the impact every day and trying to figure out how to stay safe. Hopefully there's some light at the end of the tunnel for us later this year. But right now we're all still dealing with this in our lives. And so we're holding this telephone town hall to provide information on how people can protect themselves from scams, and some of these are related to the pandemic, or fraudsters are using the pandemic as an excuse. We're going to give tips for recognizing fraudulent investment opportunities or scams when they're presented to you, and how to protect yourself and your loved ones. So right now, phones all across Ontario are ringing. People are answering their phones and connecting to this discussion. How this will work, it's like a traditional in-person event, remember those, or an in-person town hall. So people might arrive and file through the front door. That's what's happening right now, except in place of a front door, there's thousands of phones ringing all throughout the province to allow people to join the call. For those who missed the call, an answering machine message will be left with directions on how to call into the discussion later in the hour we have together this evening. So there'll be a bunch of people who join throughout the next hour if they haven't joined right at the beginning. So telephone town halls, we do this because it's a way for us at the Ontario Securities Commission and the Investor Office to connect with people just like yourself all across the province in the comfort of your own home. For people listening, everyone listening, this will work and sound much like a call-in radio show. So if you ever listen to AM radio, we're going to provide information, we're going to answer your questions, we're going to conduct live polls over the course of the hour. As Alistair said, at any point during the call, beginning right now, you can press *3 to be patched in to ask your questions, and we're going to do our best to answer all the questions we get, as many as possible, live on air. So again, please press *3 beginning right now, at any time, to ask us your questions.
Thank you for the explanation, Tyler. I agree. This is a great way for people across the province to connect with you. For those of you just joining the call, welcome. The Ontario Securities Commission will be providing information on spotting red flags of fraud, some scams that are happening as fraudsters take advantage of the crisis to target victims, and other coronavirus information that's important to know. At any point during the call, please press *3 to ask your questions. We can either put you through to ask your question live or read the question for you for the OSC to answer on the air. Tyler, looking at our systems, I see that we already have people on the line, so should we get going?
Yeah, it looks like there's a lot of people here already, Alistair, so why don't we get started?
Great, Tyler. Do you want to walk us through why you're doing this town hall and what you hope people will get out of it? And a reminder to the people on the line that you can press *3 at any time to ask a question.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Alistair. And so welcome again to everyone joining us on the phone or online. You asked why we're doing this town hall, telephone town hall. So we've had a year of COVID now in our lives. We've all had to cope with many changes in our personal, professional lives. You know, so many people were worried about our health, but also our family's health. But the crisis has obviously caused a ton of financial stress and anxiety for people as well. You know, we know people have lost their jobs. People are worried and have been worried about paying their rent or their mortgage, having difficulties doing so. There's been swings in the stock market that affect our savings and our investments. It's just been really stressful, and we know people need help. So we're doing this telephone town hall tonight to really take all of you listening important information that we hope is helpful as it relates to protecting against fraud and your investments. You know, it's so sad to say that so many fraudsters have taken advantage of the current situation and are targeting Canadians to try to get at their hard-earned money. We are seeing and have seen many different types of frauds happening that are tied to the pandemic as a connection, even if it's fake. And so we're going to be giving information during this town hall throughout the hour to help you better spot the red flags of fraud and ways you can better protect yourself. You know, according to the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre, they collect a lot of statistics and get a lot of complaints. They tracked over 8,500 Canadians who reported they lost millions of dollars to COVID-19 related frauds. It's just it's a really big problem, and we're here trying to help protect people.
That's a big amount. Definitely reinforces the importance of getting this information out there.
Well, it does, Alistair. You know, we hear stories all the time, really sad stories. You know, we're all here just to help do everything we can to help people get through this and have information that better protect themselves. Just before we get started, I will say I'm joined by some colleagues from the OSC here. So you're going to hear from my colleagues Christine Allen, Lena Creta, and Mike Hutchinson. They all work for various branches within the OSC. Again, Christine, Lena, and Mike. You're going to hear us talk about fraud and warning signs. Mike works in our enforcement division at the OSC, and he's going to share with you some insights from some fraud cases, actual fraud cases that we've seen. Before we just really get started, one last thing I want to mention for everybody. We are going to give a lot of information on this call. So now is a good time. You may want to grab a pen or a pencil if you have it handy. Just grab it now. If you're going to take some notes, now is a good time just to go and do that. We're going to give a lot of information. You know, I will say, if you aren't able to take down all the information that we get, a couple other pieces of info. You can visit our website, getsmarteraboutmoney.ca. Again, that website is getsmarteraboutmoney.ca. You can find all the information we're going to give out. That's the OSC's investor and consumer website. And we're also going to give our phone number at different times throughout the call. Just to kick it off, our phone number you can call anytime is 1-877-785-1555. Again, we're going to get it lots of times over this hour, but our phone number is 1-877-785-1555.
Thanks, Tyler. And a reminder to people on the line that you can press *3 at any time to ask a question. Now, I'd like to turn it over to Lena to walk through some important information related to the COVID crisis and her finances.
Thanks, Alistair, and hello to everyone on the call this evening. It's great that you're able to join us all. Tyler had previously covered some of the thoughts that are on everyone's mind about the impact that COVID is having on society and our daily lives, obviously with the most significant being the impact of COVID-19 on our health and the health of our loved ones. But unfortunately, on top of that, and during these unprecedented times, COVID-19 has also unfortunately created new opportunities for fraudsters who are exploiting recent events by targeting people with scams directly related to the current situation. So here at the OSC, unfortunately we're seeing and hearing about a lot of several different types of frauds, which is why we're here today. We want to warn you about these because they really can have devastating impacts on you and your finances. So for this evening, there's actually 3 frauds that I wanted to highlight, again, as Tyler had mentioned, so that you can protect yourself. So firstly, we want you to watch out for scammers who are saying that they have investment opportunities in companies that can prevent, detect, or cure COVID-19. Secondly, we want you to be aware of scammers that are reaching out to people pretending to be your bank or your advisor in order to get access to your personal or financial information. And thirdly, scammers are being known to offer help to access to help you access any of the Canadian recovery benefits or funding to help you get through this difficult time. So I can't stress enough how important it is for all of you to stay vigilant during these times so that you don't become a victim of fraud. As I said earlier, being a victim of financial fraud, it really can be devastating for people, with people often losing their hard-earned savings or the money that they've saved for their retirement. So, and unfortunately, in addition to financial losses, fraud can actually also strain relationships, and it can really cause harm to people's physical and mental health. And what we also know is that fraud doesn't just hurt people who lose money. It threatens the confidence and trust that people have in our markets and the people and businesses that operate in them. So that's really why we're here this evening. Is we really want to provide you with some tips that can help you spot the red flags of fraud, and also that you can use to protect yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Lena. Could you just repeat those frauds again?
Oh, absolutely. Sure, Alistair. So again, for everyone on the line, there are three frauds that I want to highlight this evening. So again, that you can better protect yourself. So to repeat that, be wary of scammers that are saying they have investment opportunities in companies that can prevent, detect, and cure COVID-19. Be wary of people who are pretending to be your bank or advisor in order to get access to your personal or financial information. And thirdly, anyone who's offering to help you access emergency relief benefits or funding to help you get through this difficult time, again, something to be aware of.
Thanks for that, Lena.
Oh, no, my pleasure. And in addition, during this evening, there's also three scams that I want to make everyone aware of. And, just to give you some information in terms of what we're seeing, there's generally 4 warning signs of investment fraud that are very common and that we want to make you aware of. Again, we can't hit home enough, how important it is for you to protect your hard-earned money. And remember, scams, they can really take many forms. So we're here tonight to give you some tips to protect you from being a victim of fraud. And so I just wanted to start by naming each of the 4 warning signs, and then I'll break it down a little bit with a little bit more detail. So let's start. Firstly, be wary of anyone who is presenting you with an opportunity where you can make a lot of money with little to no risk. Second flag I'd like to share is if you get a hot tip or insider information about a stock. Third is if you ever feel pressure to buy or act quickly or make a decision on the spot. Again, that can be a big red flag. And lastly, the fourth one is that if you get an investment offer from someone who is not registered to sell investments or investment advice, again, that can be an indicator of fraud. So let's just take a few minutes. I want to break each one down just a little bit. So the first red flag, again, is you're told that you can make a lot of money with little to no risk. Well, if someone's promising you high returns, saying it's guaranteed, then it's a big red flag. The reality is there really is no such thing as a high yield, no risk investment with high returns. Really, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Want to move on to the next one. If you get a hot tip or insider information about a stock, again, be wary and ask yourself, why is this person offering me something? Why are they offering me this information? And how could they benefit from it? You should also know insider trading is actually illegal, and it does come with big consequences. Third red flag is if you're pressured to buy. This is one thing where fraudsters will really take advantage of people and your emotions, trying to instill the fear of you missing out. And they'll really try to pressure you to invest in something to get your money out, and then what they do is they actually move on to other victims. So you really want to take the time to understand the investment. I really can't stress enough how important it is for you to do your own homework. Educate yourself. Never feel pressure to buy or make a decision on the spot. I can't reiterate that enough. Fourth red flag is if the person offering you the investment is not registered with the securities regulator, which in our case would be the Ontario Securities Commission. Again, red flag. Essentially, here in Ontario and across across Canada, anyone selling investments has to be registered with the Securities Commission in their province or territory where they're doing the business. And why registration is important is that it basically tells us as securities regulators who they are, so we know who they are, what their background is, and if they've ever had any disciplinary history. So if they're not registered and they're supposed to be, that's a big red flag.
Lena, if you could just repeat that list for us.
Oh, absolutely. It certainly bears repeating.